Why 99% fail but Disney dominated? How chaos thinking creates billion-dollar empires. The Walt Disney Chaos Machine. Picture this. It's 1937, and Walt Disney is facing the biggest gamble of his career. Everyone in Hollywood thinks he's lost his mind spending a fortune on something called Snow White, the first full-length animated movie. While other studios play it safe with short cartoons, Disney embraces what looks like pure chaos. Hundreds of artists, musicians, and storytellers working on something that's never been done before. But here's what the industry didn't understand: Disney wasn't gambling. He was applying what we now call chaos theory to creative innovation. Disney understood something that most entrepreneurs miss. Breakthrough innovation doesn't come from eliminating uncertainty, it comes from learning to dance with it. While competitors focused on perfecting existing formulas, Disney created what he called organized chaos. He deliberately mixed seasoned animators with rookie artists, classical musicians with jazz performers, traditional storytellers with experimental writers. This wasn't random, it was strategic disruption of creative comfort zones. The Disney method reveals a counterintuitive truth. The most predictable way to achieve unpredictable results is through controlled chaos. Disney's studios became laboratories where impossible ideas collided with practical execution. He knew that when diverse creative elements interact in unstructured ways, they generate what chaos scientists call emergent properties, solutions that couldn't have been planned, but can be consistently reproduced once you understand the system. Here's what made Disney's approach revolutionary. He created feedback loops that turned chaos into competitive advantage. Every failed experiment became data for the next breakthrough. When Fantasia bombed at the box office, Disney didn't retreat to safer territory. Instead, he analyzed which chaotic elements worked and which didn't, then applied those lessons to create Bambi, and later, the Disney empire we know today. The practical application starts with what Disney called plus-it thinking. Take any project you're working on right now. Instead of asking, how can I perfect this? Ask, how can I plus it? Then deliberately introduce three elements that don't obviously belong together. A tech solution mixed with an art approach. A business strategy combined with a sports mentality. A marketing campaign infused with scientific method. Let these elements clash and see what emerges. Disney proved that chaos isn't the enemy of success. It's the raw material of innovation. But you have to be disciplined about being undisciplined. Set boundaries for your experiments, create timelines for your chaos, and most importantly, document what happens when unexpected elements collide in your creative laboratory. If you're ready to build your own organized chaos system like Disney did to dominate your industry, type Disney in the comments and tell us what three unrelated elements you're going to combine in your next project. The Richard Feynman problem-solving algorithm. Richard Feynman, the Nobel Prize-winning physicist who helped develop the atomic bomb and revolutionized quantum mechanics, had a secret weapon that made him one of the most effective problem-solvers in history. It wasn't his mathematical genius, plenty of physicists were equally brilliant. His superpower was something he called the art of not caring about being wrong. Feynman deliberately courted intellectual chaos because he discovered it led to scientific breakthroughs. While other scientists protected their reputations by avoiding controversial theories, Feynman did the opposite. He actively sought out problems that made no sense, questions that had no clear answers, and phenomena that defied conventional wisdom. His approach to quantum electrodynamics came from embracing what he called the pleasure of finding things out, even when those things contradicted everything he thought he knew. Feynman's method demonstrates a crucial principle of chaos theory. Small changes in initial conditions can lead to dramatically different outcomes. He would take a complex problem and deliberately simplify it to the point of absurdity, then gradually add complexity back in. This reductionist chaos approach helped him see patterns that other brilliant minds missed because they started with too much complexity and got lost in the details. Here's what made Feynman's approach so powerful. He treated every problem like a game where the only rule was intellectual honesty. He wasn't trying to prove he was smart, he was trying to understand how things actually work. This mindset freed him from the ego protection that paralyzes most high performers when they encounter uncertainty. Instead of avoiding chaos, he weaponized it. The FEYNMAN algorithm works in 4 stages. First, identify a problem that genuinely puzzles you. Second, explain it in the simplest terms possible, as if teaching a child. Third, identify where your explanation breaks down these gaps. Reveal where chaos can be productive. Fourth, use those gaps as launching points for experimentation, rather than reasons to quit. FEYNMAN proved this method during the Challenger space shuttle investigation. While NASA engineers got lost in technical complexity, FEYNMAN used his chaos approach. He simplified the problem to why did this O-ring fail, then demonstrated the answer with a glass of ice water and a piece of rubber. Elegant, simple, revolutionary. Apply this right now. Take your biggest professional challenge and write a 1-paragraph explanation that a high school student could understand. Where does your explanation get fuzzy? Or use jargon? Those fuzzy spots are where breakthrough solutions hide, waiting for you to embrace the chaos of not knowing. If FEYNMAN's approach to turning confusion into breakthrough clarity resonates with you, type FEYNMAN in the comments and share what complex problem you're going to simplify and attack with fresh eyes. The Steve Wozniak Garage Revolution. Picture Steve Wozniak in his garage in Los Altos, 1975, surrounded by circuit boards, wires scattered everywhere, half-finished projects covering every surface. To most people, it looked like electronic chaos. But Wozniak saw something different. He saw the birthplace of the personal computer revolution. While IBM and Xerox built computers in sterile corporate labs with massive budgets and rigid processes, Woz embraced what chaos theorists call the edge of chaos, that sweet spot where creativity explodes. Wozniak's genius wasn't just technical, it was methodological. He understood that breakthrough innovation requires what he called productive messiness. While other engineers followed structured development processes, Woz deliberately mixed components that weren't supposed to work together. He combined television technology with typewriter keyboards, gaming circuits with business applications, expensive computer components with cheap consumer electronics. This wasn't random tinkering, it was systematic chaos, designed to reveal unexpected possibilities. The Wozniak method demonstrates a key principle from chaos theory. Complex systems often produce their most elegant solutions at the intersection of order and disorder. Woz didn't have IBM's resources, so he had to be creative with constraints. Those constraints forced him to find innovative solutions that big corporations missed because they had too many resources and too much structure. Sometimes limitation breeds liberation. What made Wozniak's approach revolutionary was his ability to see patterns in apparent randomness. When a circuit didn't work as planned, instead of throwing it away, he'd ask, what if this failure is actually showing me something useful? This mindset led to discoveries like using television displays for computer monitors, an insight that came from a failed attempt to build something completely different. Wozniak's garage methodology works through controlled experimentation with uncontrolled variables. He'd set a clear goal like building a computer, then deliberately introduce random elements to see what emerged. Old television parts mixed with new microprocessors. Gaming logic combined with business calculations. Consumer-grade components pushed beyond their intended limits. The practical application of the Wozniak method starts with embracing resource constraints as creative catalysts. Instead of waiting for perfect conditions or unlimited budgets, identify what you have available right now, including things that seem unrelated to your goal. Then systematically combine these elements in ways they weren't designed for. Document what happens, especially the failures that reveal unexpected capabilities. Wozniak proved that you don't need corporate laboratories or massive funding to create world-changing innovation. You need curiosity, systematic experimentation, and the courage to let chaos show you possibilities that planning alone would never reveal. The personal computer revolution started in a garage, because garages are naturally chaotic. Creative laboratories. If you're ready to build your own garage laboratory for systematic innovation like Wozniak did, type Wozniak in the comments and tell us what 3 random resources you have available right now that you could combine in an unexpected way. The Maya Angelou transformation method. Maya Angelou faced a chaos that would have destroyed most people. Trauma so severe she stopped speaking for 5 years as a child. But instead of letting that chaos defeat her, she developed what we now recognize as one of the most powerful applications of chaos theory to personal transformation. Angelou discovered that our deepest wounds, when properly understood, become our greatest sources of creative power and authentic connection with others. While most people try to avoid or overcome their chaotic experiences, Angelou did something radically different. She learned to mine them for wisdom. She understood that trauma creates what chaos theorists call bifurcation points, moments where your life trajectory can shift dramatically based on how you respond to crisis. Instead of seeing her painful experiences as limitations, she transformed them into her competitive advantage as a writer, speaker, and human being. Angelou's method reveals something profound about high performance. The most powerful personal brands and authentic leadership styles emerge from integrating our chaos rather than hiding from it. While others presented polished personas, Angelou's raw honesty about her struggles created deeper connections and more lasting impact. She proved that vulnerability, when channeled correctly, becomes invincibility. The Angelou transformation method works through what she called gathering the broken pieces and making them beautiful. Instead of pretending traumatic or chaotic experiences didn't happen, she systematically examined them for lessons, insights, and sources of empathy that could serve others. She turned her personal chaos into universal wisdom that helped millions of people navigate their own difficult journeys. Here's what made Angelou's approach so effective. She understood that everyone experiences chaos, loss, failure, betrayal, disappointment. By courageously sharing her own journey through chaos, she gave others permission to acknowledge their struggles and transform them into strength. This created what chaos theorists call resonance, when one system's vibrations positively amplify another's. Angelou's legacy demonstrates that the highest form of success isn't avoiding chaos, it's learning to transform chaos into contribution. She showed that our most painful experiences, when properly processed, become our most powerful tools for helping others. This isn't just personal development, it's strategic positioning in a world that craves authentic leadership. The practical application starts with what Angelou called telling the truth about your story. Identify a difficult experience that you've been avoiding or minimizing. Instead of running from it, examine it for lessons that might help others facing similar challenges. What insights did you gain? What strengths did you develop? How can your chaos become someone else's compass? Angelou proved that chaos isn't something that happens to you, it's raw material waiting to be transformed into your unique contribution to the world. But transformation requires courage, honesty, and the discipline to mine meaning from pain. When you master this process, your greatest struggles become your strongest platforms for impact. If you're ready to apply the Maya Angelou method to transform your own chaotic experiences into sources of power and service like she did, type Angelou in the comments. Subscribe to join our next deep dive expedition, where we'll explore how Renaissance masters used controlled chaos to create timeless masterpieces. Share this with someone who needs to discover the hidden power in their own story of overcoming chaos.